I was able to schedule a meeting with the mastermind behind Morgan Freeman's voiceovers. Fabio is the guy who's been recording Morgan Freeman's voice, and I was able to interview him to ask questions on the tips and tricks for audio to ensure that we can create higher quality videos. Now, he has an upcoming meeting with a client coming up very soon, so I don't have much time, but I'm gonna use this time wisely to gather as much information as I can regarding practical audio setups for YouTube content creation. Now, this guy is way overqualified for these questions, but that makes it that much better. With that being said, let's get into this interview that may just change the way that we create forever. Fabio Studio. Here we go.
Howdy, partner.
Ooh! But as I walked into the studio, I couldn't help but notice the studio. Even though the studio was absolutely crazy, it doesn't even touch an ounce of the value that we're about to get from this interview. Got him. All right. Fabio.
Hey, what up, man?
Thanks for joining me in my studio today.
This thing's fire, dude.
So obviously you've worked with Morgan Freeman, but you've worked on some other crazy stuff. Fill me in on just some of the things that you've worked on that people may not know.
So one of our first bigger projects here at the Fresco Studio was some voiceover for Solar Opposites, and that was with the gamer Ninja. And we also did some ADR stuff for some movies and some shows like Outer Banks, the movie Queen of the Ring, and a recent one for Great White Waters.
Crazy. See, we're going to go over a couple different questions. The idea is that we're going to pertain to new filmmakers, YouTubers, as well as some higher level filmmakers. Using all the tips I got from Fabio, I set myself up in the worst conditions possible. A large room, untreated, with tons of echo. But using the proper techniques, you can easily get it sounding just like this. So, for someone who has done some high quality work, boom mic versus lav mic versus on-camera shotgun mic. Why would you need them? What's the benefit of them? Like, which one gives you the highest quality? Go.
I think like most things, like knowing your tools and how they're best used. So like in location audio, you have certain mics that are better for indoors, certain mics that are better for outdoors. With that said, if you have a on camera mic, like there's a ton of tutorials out there that'll show you how that sounds. As long like the distance I am from this camera is very close to the distance I am from this mic. So like a decent shotgun mic on there, or really any shotgun mic would pick me up pretty well, but if you have a little bit wider shot, then you might want to put that mic on a pole, and then if you move further than that and there's a lot of moving around and you can't have somebody on the camera, sometimes the lighting doesn't allow it without shadows or whatever the case, that's when a lav mic comes in handy. And I think from what I've seen, a lot of content creators now are using the clip-on mics, and those sound great. Like sometimes I'll watch a video and I'm like, dang dude, that's clean, and it's just like a very low budget clip-on mic.
I choose the Sennheiser MKE 600, which is a boom mic. I chose the boom mic because one, Fabio said it's his favorite, and if it's his favorite, it's going to be my favorite. But in all reality, it's directional, so it blocks out a lot of the other information that we don't want. And I don't know how to explain this, but it has an all-encompassing capture. I almost feel like when I use the lav mic, because it is at the chest, it has the bass and it has the high tones, but it almost feels like it's slightly more muffled because it's hidden, while the boom mic captures everything at all ranges, so it sets you up for greatness when you go into the editing software. I have it connected to a C-stand that is about 6 inches out ahead of me and about 6 inches above me, and I have it slightly tilted towards me. The boom mic is going to work perfect because it is very directional. It gets rid of all the other noise around it and focuses mainly on where it's pointed. So when it comes to all of this echo, the boom mic is going to help a ton. Now for the lighting, I'm using the F22C above me as the matte light. I'm using the 300D with the Leica mount. I don't know. And it's casting this cool little rectangle on the back. I don't know why I did it. I just thought it looked cool. I like lines. And then I have the 300D Mark II blasting into my bounce, which is filling the rest of this area, so it doesn't just go to shadow. It kind of brings me up a little bit. I used it in the interview, and I'm using it here. Haze is one of those things that I've never gone back. It bounces light, so it makes light softer. Spreads light. This is a spotlight back here. And it spreads the light so that it creates more visual interest within your lights. Whenever you watch a movie and you see the sun rays coming in through the window, and it's always haze. That doesn't just naturally happen unless you got a dirty house with a bunch of dust. Haze is the way to go. Dude, that's the most sponsory thing ever. Haze is the way to go. Speaking of that, Colbor, they sent me this Haze Machine. They said I could say whatever I wanted about it. It's actually really good. You can adjust the parameters of how much juice it's letting out, how heavy the fan is, so how far it's pushing out. And then there's a magnetic adapter up here that you can then change the fan speed. It's got lights. It's got this cool articulation. I'm so happy they sent it to me because I saw like the Smoke Ninjas and all the handheld smoke machines, and I was like, wow, I could just fill a room with a bigger Haze machine that I can get on Amazon for like $50. But when it comes to product shots where I want a low-lying fog as well as haze, this does that for me. By turning up the fan, it already breaks up the particles and it turns it into an ambient haze. By keeping the fan low, I can create that low-lying fog, and it's perfect for product stuff. As of the time of filming this, the price for it is around $120. If you'd like to check it out, there's a link in the description. Make sure to check it out if you'd like to see more content based on that so you can make a better decision. If you'd want to purchase that or not, make sure to let me know in the comments. And with that being said, let's dive back in. When you're watching a YouTube video or maybe a social media video, what are signs of an amateur?
One of the main ones that I'm hearing lately, like it used to be clipping. That used to be like the first thing that you would notice, like, holy crap, this is clipping, like somebody wasn't watching these levels, or, you know, we have things in place like 32-bit that would prevent that if they were using, you know, a device that can handle that. But I think what I'm finding more now, because content has become way easier to make now, it's the post-production. Some of the when people go in to clean up like an echoey room or a noisy background, they over process. So when you start hearing like the modulation and like artifacts in their voice, it's like immediately like someone threw that through something and turned it all the way up. And it's funny because like I'm in no way talking down about the movie I'm going to mention, but Sinners, I was watching that, one of the better movies currently. And one part that stuck out to me, they were in the truck, and it might have been done on purpose, but they were driving, and so it's like they're obviously outside, there's no top on the car, and they're driving, and you don't hear wind, you don't hear the car, and it's just like the cleanest vocals I've ever heard in that situation. And I was just watching it like, that's very clean, you know. And sometimes when you think about it, it takes you out of, you know, but when it comes to like new people editing or getting into audio, the audio part, you're putting all your knowledge into the video part, then you trying to handle the audio because you can't afford not to, like, you know, you can't afford to send it to someone else. Your first thought is that the audio needs to be like in your face and dead, and we are not. Like, you listen to movies where they're in like a big room, you're gonna hear the big room. Like, now the amount of room is the thing that makes it different than like an amateur thing.
All right, pause just real quick. So far, my mind has been exploding with valuable information from this conversation. But if you'd like to see the extended interview with Fabio, make sure to become a member and check it out. But all the value that we've received, I don't think touches the story that we're about to hear from Fabio on how he used a budget-friendly setup that any of us could buy right now with Morgan Freeman. Let's get into it. What is a piece of budget gear that you swear by?
I almost fell into the mic. A piece of budget gear would be this U87. There's a lot of great budget gear. One of my first mics when I was getting, like, trying to familiarize myself with location sound, it was an NTG2 shotgun mic. They're very cheap, and I had that paired with a Tascam DR something. So, funnest story with this mic, we had an opportunity to record on location with Morgan, and we had an issue come up where we had brought like two, you know, top dollar mics, and I was like assisting on this, but we tried to get phantom power to power these two mics, and they weren't working. And I remember I used to always take like some of my kit of what I did have, and at the time, like, I didn't have a lot of knowledge in what's all needed and everything, so I would just be like, here's a couple of cables, adapters, this mic. And what's cool about that mic is it had a built-in or like where you can stick a AA battery. It'll last all day with it. So we had no choice. I was like, yo, I brought this mic, we put it up, it was working, we tossed the other two. And so that mic, fortunately, was there. You know, it's embarrassing to say that, you know, that's kind of like crazy, embarrassing story, I guess. But in hindsight, like, we got the job done. We had to like figure out what was going on, figure out a way around it quickly. And, you know, that mic made it onto the documentary that we were doing.
Wait a minute. So is he saying he used a mic that is less than $250 with Morgan Freeman?
I mean, nobody knows, obviously, until I'm talking about it, but, you know.
That's impressive. Is that mic still viable now, or would you say there's like a better version, like an upgrade? Or?
Well, yeah, so at the time, that one was cool because of the battery thing. But I think not too long ago, like I think a few weeks ago, I came across another mic. I have to see what company it was. This mic records to itself. It powers itself. It's like the same thing, essentially, a shotgun mic that can either mount to your camera or a boom pole. And it records to itself, so it requires no wires. It's 32-bit float, and what's real important about that is, like, so if you're shooting, recording, directing, you're doing it all yourself. And you don't have the time to sit here and ride levels on like a piece of like external recorder. The 32-bit comes in handy because it's more of like you hit record, and then in post-production you can actually set your levels.
If you want to go check out the mic, check out the link in the description. What are some practical steps you could use for a boom mic that would help somebody watching be able to create with higher quality audio?
Me personally, just being like out of frame. So that's kind of like your guide of where you should be. Like, sometimes you might be too far, and that's okay, but you can still capture it. And you obviously don't want to be here. and I'm even hearing my voice like kill right here, but pointing the mic at the person's mouth, but you're also listening for things like some like big deal boom operators, they'll listen to what's happening aimed at the mouth, and they may aim more towards the nose or more towards the chest to change like the frequency response of it. When it comes like, so yeah, like 3 feet out or 2 feet out.
Now remember, if I can get my audio to sound like this when I set myself up for failure at the beginning, there's no telling the audio that you could capture when using the right tactics. Now, obviously, more than likely, there was some editing going on with the audio to help finesse this, but there are tons of tools in Premiere, within DaVinci, and AI softwares like Adobe Podcast and all these different softwares that are going to help extract your vocals and really give you a solid sound. But something that Fabio pointed out is we don't always want a clean, crisp sound. If we are in an area, if we're outside in a car and it sounds like a podcast, I think we're doing it wrong, because it doesn't sell the idea that we're in a car with other cars driving by, you can hear ambience. Brings up a good point. Filmmaking, audio, everything creative, we want to create things that immerse people in an experience. So how do we do that? We make that experience believable. That's why I feel like not overdoing your color grades, your edits, your audio. It's supposed to bring someone in to your world. And with that being said, if you'd like to see more educational content like this, consider subscribing. If you'd like to dive deeper into growing as a filmmaker, consider becoming a member. Remember, it only takes one to shoot your first video. It only takes one to finesse your audio. It only takes one to make a change. It only takes one to change the world. And that could be you. See you next time.
In the club with my homies, trying to get a little B.I. Keep it down on the low key.
Watch out!